They call it CoffeeScript combined. Take a sip, I know it's quite a trip, 'cause somehow you can write less code to get more done. Yeah! Come on and take a seat, don't end up obsolete. They call it CoffeeScript.
Welcome to level 5 of A Sip of CoffeeScript. In this level, we're going to once again go through some jQuery code, which was from jQuery Air Captain's log, and practice converting that into CoffeeScript. So let's jump into it. Here you can see a bind command where we're sending in an object for binding on click, mouse enter, and mouse leave. What would this look like in CoffeeScript? Well, we might code it like so. So as you can see here, we removed the curly braces and the parentheses. We also removed the commas at the end of each line. We're using the spaces and the new lines to designate each item in the object. Now let's jump into a more complex jQuery example, and we will convert it into CoffeeScript line by line. So here you can see this function showFlights. We hide a div. We're setting fetching flights equal to the AJAX call that we're doing. We also have an error callback with a conditional inside of it. So let's jump into it and go line by line, converting this into CoffeeScript. So up at the top, we are declaring the function and hiding the div. Pretty straightforward. Then for the conditional right here, this goes to 2 lines. If fetching flights, then fetching flights abort, using indentation instead of curly braces. Next, we need to convert that AJAX function call into CoffeeScript. But before we do that, take a close look at the parameters which we're sending into that AJAX call. What you'll notice is that we have 2 different objects, right? The first object is that inside the first set of curly braces, and the second object is inside that data property. So inside there, we have another object we're sending in for the parameters we're sending to the server. So let's try getting rid of all the curly braces. So here's what it might look like. You can see that we're using indentation instead of curly braces. So let's replace that code there. Next, for the error callback, our CoffeeScript is going to look a little bit like this, where we send in a function. If result status text isn't abort, then show this div. The resulting CoffeeScript is 46 less characters than the JavaScript, including white spaces. That's pretty substantial. We're writing less code to get more done. And less code means it's easier to change, it's more agile, and it probably has less bugs. Lastly, we're going to refactor some JavaScript to use a list comprehension. So here's some code. We have filtered flights. We're going through each of the current flights. Current flights is just an array. For each flight, we're checking to see if it has, a certain number of stops and, for the routing. And then if it does have the right number of stops, push that onto the array. So we're trying to generate a new array of filtered flights. One way we could implement this in CoffeeScript is by creating a new array, go through each item, same function. If the stops is 2, routing is 0, then push on the flight. But there's a better way we can do this using a list comprehension. Let's take a look. So for list comprehension, we're going to say flight for flight in current flights. We saw this before in level 3, I believe. So we're going through each current flight, setting it equal to flight, returning the flight when stops is 2, routing is 0. That's all wrapped in parentheses because we want to set it equal to the filtered flights array. So that's the end of the video for this level. Now it's time for you to take this knowledge and apply it to the challenges to earn your next badge.